Roll call.
Yes, John, can we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Here.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
Yes,
And
here.
Chair.
Yes.
We have a quorum. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
Republic for which stands,
under
one
God,
nation, God,
liberty, and justice for all.
justice for all.
Reading of the public notice, John.
Notice of meeting was given in the following manner. Notice of meeting was transmitted to the Homeland Tribune. Said notice of meeting was promptly posted on the announcement board of City Hall at least 48 hours prior to the beginning of this meeting.
John, for the minutes, I need a motion to accept the minutes for January.
Move.
Second,
Who moved? I'm sorry, I didn't hear who moved.
Yurgo moved.
Yurgo, thank you. And seconded?
I did it. Dale.
Okay, Dale, thank you. Ready?
Roll call.
Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
For the minutes, Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
Yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we,
Chair, you have a redevelopment matter? If I could read the redevelopment resolution, and then we'll take a motion in a second, and we have some people to go over the action.
yes, thank you.
Resolution number 5 is acting as a redevelopment agency, resolution approving designation of Fulton Square Urban Renewal LLC as redeveloper of project site for a mixed-use development in the Sanford, Remsen redevelopment area, approving the concept plan provided by Fulton Square for the project site and the redevelopment agreement.
Can I have a motion? Or do you want to go over the,
You need a motion in a second, and then you can
in
open.
a second?
Move it, move.
Yurgo got it? And who seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay. And Ms. Hoffman? John? Did we lose John?
I got her a little
Yeah.
bit.
Tom, you wanna just?
He's muted?
No, it looked like he's got a little red icon in the bottom.
Oh, yep, that's me.
I hear you
it's
now.
off. Now it's off.
There you go.
John?
It's off.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. We just
Okay,
read
I'm
the
sorry.
resolution.
My technological skills aren't very good. The resolution to redesignate Fulton Square as the redeveloper, approve the concept plan and a redevelopment agreement in connection with a project that's located between Commercial Avenue, Lawrence Street, and Georges Road. You may remember they were designated as a redeveloper back in December of 2018. It was conditioned on having a redevelopment agreement executed by August of 2019. Unfortunately, because of environmental issues, some acquisition issues, and other issues, the agreement was never concluded. They have now resolved some of those issues and came in with a revised concept plan. The plan still has 112 residential units in 4 buildings and about 12,800 square feet of retail and about 280 parking spaces. The redevelopment agreement is the usual redevelopment agreement. It requires them to construct the project and have it completed within 2 years, but not later than December 31st of 2013. It requires the authority to help them to acquire 3 parcels, 2 of which are small, 1 of which is a little bit larger. They own the bulk of the property, but to complete the whole project, they need these other 3 sites. So we would be obtaining appraisals, engineering reports, and trying to negotiate with the property owners to acquire, or if not, then try and condemn the properties. The agreement has them reimbursing the authority for its fee, its $10,000 fee, setting up an escrow of $40,000, and also, as I said, engaging appraisers and engineers. There's an escrow which would be set up with the $40,000. There is a requirement that they attempt to use residents of public housing to help with the construction. The project's estimated to cost $15 million, with about 11.3 million as a loan, 13.5 as equity. They have to advise us of their commitment after they get the loan. They also have to obtain the usual insurances, they indemnify the authority, and they cannot assign the project without our consent. We also have the usual representation, default, and termination clauses. Now, Tom Kelso's here representing the developer, and Ron Arrowick is here also from the developer, and I can turn that over to them.
Thanks, John. Members of the board, Thomas Kelso on behalf of the applicant, Fulton Square Urban Renewal. As you know, Fulton Square Urban Renewal is a subsidiary of Edgewood Properties, the principals of which are Jack and Cheryl Morris. All the information that Mr. Hoffman laid out for you is accurate as we understand it in terms of the redevelopment agreement, the concept plan that we're now presenting to you. The only thing that I would say, I hope that we don't have to complete this by 2013. I think even 2023.
23, yeah.
I mean, that would be tough.
You guys are very quick.
I wrote it down, too.
Is it George or George's?
George's.
Yeah, because, George's?
Yes.
Okay,
George is good.
okay.
Brunswick Road. Just a little background, as John indicated to you, we had originally presented and had approved a concept plan, which is, it is somewhat similar to the plan you see today. It was included on a majority of the site, but since that time, we've been encouraged to add the balance of the property that's in the redevelopment area, which provides some additional land to be redeveloped. And it's in the MCR section of the redevelopment plan. So we have a plan that's in conformance, that it's a mixed use of commercial and residential that's being proposed. As John had indicated, there were some delays for us associated with attempting to acquire properties, as well as having a better understanding of environmental, which we're now comfortable with, and we are now prepared to move forward with the plan that was identified by numbers by John Hoffman. So that's essentially what we're here to do. We are actually in a good position in the sense that the redevelopment agreement itself has already been reviewed by us and through in-house counsel, and we're prepared to immediately execute it, pay the fees necessary, and get ourselves moving with the approval process. There are acquisitions that we are requesting. We have had substantial communication with the main property owner who understands that we would be proceeding with condemnation. He would not, as we understand it, challenge that. It's really a question of the terms of the acquisition that would be forthcoming. So that's a general overview of the plan. We hope that you will see the concept as one that fits neatly within what the plan envisioned, as well as recognizing that Mr. Morris and Edgewood Properties has a track record with regard to redevelopment in New Brunswick and other municipalities, and is certainly financially capable of completing the project. With that as an overview, I would ask Ron Ohlenbach to provide an overview. Ron is the Director of Engineering for Edgewood Properties, and the guy that does actually all. So, and I must say, Ron, I don't want to out you on this, but if we were having this meeting in person, you probably couldn't be there because my poor Mr. Ohlenbach has pneumonia, but he's sitting there ready to make his presentation. But he's COVID-free. This is only pneumonia, right, Ron? It's only pneumonia.
Only pneumonia. Oh, well, that's okay.
Yes, well, I'm happy to say that I'm up to have pneumonia. But unfortunately, I went from not being a person at risk to being a person at risk. So I'm glad that we could at least still hold the meeting this way, this day and age, what's going on, and hopefully everybody's staying safe and healthy. So to Tom's point, I'll just give a brief overview of what has transpired over the past few years. Mr. Hoffman and Mr. Kelso kind of gave you a brief overview, the number of units, the number of parking spaces, the amount of retail. But what I want to talk about more importantly is what prompted the change in the concept plan. And with, my boss, Jack Morrison's desire to move forward on the project, we looked at the old concept plan and said, listen, we really can't move forward without the acquisition of these other 3 parcels. And it's really holding things up. You know, we have, whether it's condemnation and there's environmental issues, which I'll talk about in a second. So we want to take a step back and look at the plan and say, hey, listen, is there a way to revise this? Because we do own a majority of the property. Is there a way to revise it so that we can phase it, so that we could start the project and keep moving forward while we go through either negotiations with the property owners and or condemnation and the environmental cleanup? So what this plan provides for us is it gives us the ability to start construction on the 2 42-unit buildings, which come back up to the New Brunswick line, and allow us to move forward with that and provide additional parking and necessary parking for that while we work out the issues with the corner lot, which is the bulk of the other piece of property. And as Mr. Kelso indicated, there's 2 little 25-foot lots that are to the south of us that would either have to be purchased or condemned, but they're part of a buffer area or setback area. So again, we can move forward without those properties being on their ownership, and that's really what prompted the change in the plan. Driveways have been realigned again, so they are on our properties. We can control access to both Commercial Avenue and to George's Road, and still maintain the property as we move forward. So that's really what prompted the change in the concept plan. As Mr. Hoffman indicated, it's 112 residential units. Right now it's slated for 67 2-bedrooms, 45 1-bedrooms. We are proposing 288 parking spaces, where 267 are required. And we are proposing 12,800 square foot of retail on the first floor of buildings 1 and 2. Buildings 3 and 4 are strictly residential. As it relates to the environmental, there is some questions about what's going on with the corner lot. We know what's involved out there. We've done extensive environmental review. It's into the DEP. There's a requirement under the DEP regulations to clean it up. There are some PCBs located in the soils that we believe trace back to a company called Mac Iron Works, which was on the site some time ago. But those are normal environmental issues that we can maintain and control. You know, no different than having a transformer on a site that leaked, the same type of PCBs. It's about remediation and cleaning the site up. And Jack is committed to cleaning it up to residential standards. He's not looking for up to commercial standards and do a deed restriction. He doesn't like doing deed restrictions on his property. So our commitment to clean up the site, all the lots. Our site in the middle has already been cleaned up. The other 3 parcels, we're committed to clean up to residential standards, so there's no deed restriction on the site. Obviously, as Mr. Kelso indicated, that comes into play with potential acquisition, and obviously the condemnation has to be taken into account with the appraisals, what the property is worth, and what the cleanup is going to cost. So, you know, we want to just keep moving forward and at least have, you know, this authority's approval to move forward so that we can start obtaining some of the outside agency approvals and get a shovel in the ground. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I have a question.
Good, Rock?
Yeah, go ahead, Walter. So I just saw you, but I just. Go ahead.
John sent us a memo, and I added up the units, it came out to 70, unless I misread the memo.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
Phase 1, 16, phase 2, 12, and phase 3 and 4, 42. It came out to 70.
Yeah, that's 42 each. 42 each.
42.
Huh?
The last 2 phases are 42 each.
Oh, 42 each?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now, my second question is, how many of them are affordable? How many units are affordable out of the 113 or something?
112 units. As of right now, we're not proposing any affordable units.
So, all market?
Correct.
how come? Is the general question.
Yes.
How come
Tom,
we
you
don't
want to take
have?
that?
Yeah, I would probably just indicate to you that this is all being done market rate. We're not looking for any type of subsidy. You know, the ability to provide subsidy through, as you're well aware of, through the HMFA or others, those tax credits or other types of fundings are very difficult to come by. By being able to prove it all with private financing and private equity, it allows us to get the project done quicker and efficiently. You know, having the type of restrictions does require us to have that kind of funding in other types of subsidies. So the city had not encouraged us to do affordables in this particular location, but rather we have the opportunity to do these strictly through the market.
Are you requesting a pilot from the city?
As of now, I don't know the answer to that. That's not been in the plan as I understand. Now, but I can't say that for certain, Euro. It's very possible, but then the city would have to make a determination of what the pilot would be. And it would certainly, if there were affordable units, the pilot would likely generate generate less income to the city than market rate units, and would be at a higher percentage.
But if you request for a pilot, will the city require you to have affordable units?
I don't think that they would do that, but if they did, then we would have to make a determination either to do affordable units or not accept the pilot.
Okay.
And if I may,
Go ahead. Yeah.
so obviously you've calculated, you have estimates about what's going on with pandemic and other things, and you still think the project can go. Has that changed your thinking going forward at all?
Not one bit. I think Jack, and not just because he's my boss, he has taken a different look at things, and he wants to do whatever he can to keep moving forward, both the residential and the retail side. Even with the pandemic and office closures and construction halts on certain projects, he's still looking to move forward. So you gotta remember that, you know, by the time we get through, you know, not just the city, but outside agencies, you know, I'm looking at, I don't have any heavy NJDEP permitting lifts here, but I'm looking at a better part of 6 months to 9 months before I even get all my entitlements in place. You know, so, you know, long, hopefully, you know, my mouth to God's ears, long past what we're going through right now.
Good, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Comment from the public? Comment?
Yes, excuse me, Anthony, the board, I have a
Go
question.
ahead.
Regarding to the, it was mentioned earlier, something regarding construction for residents to be involved in it. Is that accurate? Is that related to this as well?
Yeah, John Hoffman, I don't know if John's on. John? As part of our redevelopment agreement, we have a Section 3 component, and we maintain Section 3 lists here. So those are local jobs for local residents. Those are always part of our redevelopment agreements. And all the developers, including Edgewood, have participated in that program.
Thank you.
Is there, either John or Ron, is there a training program that we have to make sure people are job ready? Do we work with a nonprofit? Do we do the training, or how does that work?
Our Section 3 list actually has people with skills on it. So we don't just do construction, it's clerks, laborers, secretaries, accountants, whoever. Anytime residents are in between jobs, they typically come and get on our list. So it's not just a construction list.
Okay. Thank you.
Good.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Charles Craneville, New Brunswick. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today, and happy to have the opportunity to address you during these difficult times. I did want to focus in on a few items with this proposal. I was at the meeting in December 2018 when this was first laid out, and I know that the developer also laid out another project that same day for the Walgreens area. And it was asserted by Mr. Kelso, this company has a good track record in New Brunswick. I am familiar with some of their projects. I know they just got one online over on Route 1 and of course have done the Fulton Square 1. But what can you tell me about the situation with the Walgreens site? Is that still moving forward or has that changed?
It is moving forward, yes.
Moving forward as it was laid out with the retail and housing?
As of now, yes.
Okay. And so as far as this proposal, I understand it was de-designated and then this is redesignated, so I just want to make sure that the $10,000 fee is in addition to what's already been paid to the authority, is that correct? They have to pay another fee?
Johnson. Yes, that's part of the redevelopment.
My recollection,
Okay.
yes.
Right, so this is almost like starting over again, the process. And
Yeah.
I want to thank Commissioner Wolde for his excellent questions. Those were a couple of questions that I was going to ask myself. And yeah, I would just caution the board that, you know, we have a real need for affordable housing. If we're going to be building in excess of 100 units, developers seeking your, you know, approval to be able to do this and to be able to get, you know, special powers, condemnation, and become eligible for a tax exemption, which Mr. Kelso said they may or may not pursue. I think affordable housing would be totally in order. I know that, you know, lots of projects in New Brunswick include that on the order of 20%, and I don't see why this could not or should not, especially if they are leaving open the option to go in for a tax abatement, which we know the city may well grant, even if they have no affordable housing. So I'm just, you know, flagging this for all the board members that right now you do have an opportunity, you do have a sort of a point of negotiating where you can use your power to say we would like some affordable housing here, and you know, if you want our stamp of approval to be able to move forward, you know, please add that affordable housing, and you know, as a resident, I think that would be a good thing for the housing authority to request of this developer, and I hope that maybe before you take a vote on this, you could ask them to do that and make that a requirement for them to do that in order to get this approval. And that's all I have on this matter. I'll speak again at the end, if that's okay.
Thank you.
If I might just respond to that, the redevelopment plan for the area does not require it. If the city wishes to encourage us through the administration, the city council, I think my client would consider it, but we would have to look at alternate types of financing and certainly would cause delay. But I just caution the authority board that since it's not part of the plan, if you were to condition approval of a concept on something like that, it could be problematic, could be beyond the plan. I just suggest to you that we certainly have no problem having that dialogue with the city administration.
Thank you.
Particularly if there's going to be an application for a pilot, the city may request it, and we would consider it.
Thank you. Can we go to a roll call, John?
Sure.
On this resolution?
On resolution number 5, Commissioner Dunlap,
Yes.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Abstain.
Abstain. Mr. Chair, you're all right with the abstention?
Yes.
And Chair?
Yes.
Okay. Shall we continue with the resolutions?
Yeah, I'd like to do, since we have somewhat time restraints here, to do a consent agenda, which means John will read everything off, and we agree at the end.
Excuse me, if I might just say thank you.
Oh, thank you all for development people.
We'll depart your meeting,
All right.
so we appreciate your
Thanks,
consideration.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Steve.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
You want me to do the consent agenda, taking out
Yeah, if that's
resolution number 8?
okay. Yeah, I'd like to do a consent agenda. What happens is that John will read all the resolutions. If somebody has to abstain from one, they can. if they don't, and John will give an explanation, and then we vote on them all at one time.
Okay. Resolution number 6 is a resolution authorizing and approving the
John, do I
payment.
need a thing for that?
No, you have to read the resolutions, and then you'll take a motion in a second. My only statement for Robert's rules is that if you're going to abstain or take a different action, you can't be the person that makes the motion in a second.
Okay.
Okay?
Did everybody
I
hear that?
have a question, John.
Uh-oh.
John,
If we have a question, is it after you read everything?
you can do, it's
I have a quick-
it's whatever
Let's just
pleases
go
the
through them
chair.
singly, so we'll be running through it anyhow.
Okay, you want to do
You know,
something?
we just know what they
No worries,
say, 8
all right.
o'clock, and, you know, I know people, you guys are home. I'm not.
You guys will bail Lee Rock and Charlie out if we get arrested. Okay, that's all, just so you know.
I'm at
Resolution.
home, I'm at home, I'm still here.
Oh, and Commissioner Hernandez, you'll bail us out.
Just read the
Resolution number
John.
6 is a resolution authorizing and approving the payment of bills for the month of January 2020.
Make a motion to accept?
And you decide,
Second,
okay? Commissioner Dunlap.
Here.
Okay, Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
yes.
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 7 is a resolution authorizing and approving the payment of bills for the month of February 2020.
Make a motion to accept?
You need a second? Second? Anyone?
A second. Second.
Dale.
Was that Dale? Okay. And Commissioner Dunlap.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 8 is a resolution authorizing contract with Rich Tree Services, NJ State Contract 18, DPP 00645, in the amount not to exceed $41,236.97. Sorry, 79 cents.
Oh, Jesus.
You need a motion, a second, Chair.
I'm waiting, I don't know if anybody.
Anyone for motion?
Motion.
second,
Okay, I heard a second. Who made the motion?
Is that-
Commissioner Wong?
Right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wright, okay. Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Dunlap
Yes.
on the motion. Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
yes.
Chair.
You're gonna have to abstain, John?
And I assume you're approving your abstention.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 9 is a resolution accepting the annual audit report for the Housing Authority of the City of New Brunswick for FY 6/30/19.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Need a second?
Second.
Here you go.
Yeah.
As you know, we do our annual audits every year. We had no findings. I was very pleased with this year's audit and auditor. And you will all have received. You all did already receive the audit via email. There is one actual correction we're waiting on right now. So until we have the final correction, we can still accept it because it's not material to the audit. But there's just one little correction I'm waiting on to get the final copy from the auditor, which I'll circulate again. But it made no change in any of the other items or any of the amounts. It's just a grammatical error they had. Commissioner
What's the
Dunn,
correction?
correction, they had 2,390 instead of 2,930 in unit months leased. So it was an internal correction to the audit. Commissioner Dunlap,
Yes.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes,
and Chair.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 10 is a resolution authorizing and approving an interagency agreement between the Bayonne Housing Authority and the New Brunswick Housing Authority.
I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion to,
second,
Dale moved?
I think so.
So as you know, we've had interagencies before where we have done the work. This is sort of a bit of a reverse. A qualified purchasing agent is a licensed, certified accountant, basically, that comes in to assist government agencies with contracting. We are looking to contract with the Bayonne Housing Authority to provide us with a QPA. We discussed it with the city. The city's actual QPA is unable to service us because of the amounts that they're doing for other departments in the city. And it's a fee-for-service agreement, so we would only have them come in to work with our clerk and our other staff on contracting and making sure our files are in order, doing a little training when needed, and also providing some compliance internal reviews to make sure that we remain and we continue to be in compliance with all contracting. So it's a good thing, and again, we do not have any QPAs in our authority, and there's only one in the city. So we look forward to them coming in and working with them. And it should improve the operations side, again, making sure that our files remain and continue to be in good working order. Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Colwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'm
Yes.
sorry about it. Do we have any liability with this kind of agreement?
With a QAP?
Yeah.
No, they come in and hold us harmless, and they also provide us with
Oh, okay.
the Bayonne's insurance. So, they're not doing auditing work, they're doing contracting compliance work. So what they're doing basically is file reviews, staff training to make sure the staff know how to handle things. They're certified and licensed by the state, so the liabilities, there is no liability, they're licensed by the state of New Jersey.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, no.
Where are we? 11, right? No, we did 11. No, yes, I'm sorry, 11. 11 is a resolution approving and adopting the revised personnel policy and procedure manual for the New Brunswick Housing Authority.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Who seconded?
Zach.
Zach.
Right.
So,
Sorry.
I have two questions.
oh, sure, okay.
Okay. On maternity leave, you're allowed 6 months, I think. Are they paid or are they using their vacation time?
So there's it's a little different now. There's a Family Leave Act, which allows you to take up to 12 weeks.
Okay.
And that is, that's a state law. But the policy itself allows leave for your use of time. But the Family Leave Act is not something we control. We have to give that to them by law. So they're getting up to 12 months, regardless of what they have. So, sorry, 12 weeks, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry, 12 weeks, I went 12 weeks, 12 weeks. So they get 12 weeks regardless of what the time they have. And then they would use their time. If they wanted to take additional time.
Do they get paid for the 12 weeks?
Yes, they do. It's part of the Family Leave Act, yeah, they get paid.
Okay. Now, my second question is on longevity.
Yep.
Is pay every one-time pay, or does add to their monthly their salary?
So we no longer have longevity for new hires. Longevity only
Yes.
exists in the previously hires, and it is actually part of their salary now. We don't do the increments anymore. So it is, if you make $45,000 and you have a longevity pay of $5,000, you make $50,000 and it's paid out over the year. There's no lump sum, it's part of your, and that's reported as salary. It's not, we don't separate it out. We stopped longevity, good Lord, probably
Yeah, remember?
99, 2000 maybe, 2001, it was years and years. So
Yeah, something like that. I thought we stopped it.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
but we still note it because there's still employees here that had it, so it's not taken away, it's just part of their salary now. And that's reported
Okay.
as salary, so there's no additional amount. This
So
just,
that's my question.
yep, just so you also know, this also does include a lot of the recent things going on with staffing. What it does not include, which we may have to do some amendments, are return to work changes that may be coming with requirements for temperature checks and some other real funky stuff that we might be getting into. All of a sudden, we're gonna become doctors here, apparently. So, but we've never stopped working, so there's really no return to work. But it's my understanding that there may be some new guidance from the CDC coming soon, if not imminently already here. Alberto maybe will know more than I do, that talk about, temperature taking and other things that I'm sure that the legal people are gonna have fun with. So we would have to, I'm assuming we'd have to amend this again or do an addendum, or I don't even know, to be honest with you, because I don't know the severity of what they're gonna allow us and require us to do is gonna be, so. But that would be once it happens, so we can't predict what it's gonna happen, but this is complete as it is right now. All right, Commissioner Dunlap,
Yes.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
yes,
and Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 12 is a resolution awarding and approving contract for unit modernization and maintenance repair to All Risk in the amount not to exceed $200,000.
I make a motion to accept. Need a second?
second,
So this was a bid. As you may know, we do these annually now. There's about 5 contracts that we do every single year. And All Risk was last year successful respondent. We did have a number of respondents to this. And that was a number of solicitations that were sent out. It was publicly advertised. And this is a bid. So we opened at a opened bid process. We're very happy with the work All Risk did last year. And we're looking forward to working with them again if the board sees fit to award this contract. We do have funds available for these activities in our modernization budget. And we need them badly. Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner
I
Walden?
have a question.
Oh,
Oh, Walden.
Chairman?
Question.
Sure.
It looks like the same company has won about 4 or 5 contracts, if I'm not mistaken.
No. So All Risk has one contract.
Okay.
Magic Touch had electric and plumbing. Comtech has security camera.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
Pest
great.
Control Services has pest control. Alliance actually was last year.
Okay, all right.
So where was I? Commissioner Walde. Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
yes,
Chair?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 13 is a resolution awarding, approving, and ratifying contract for electrical and repair and maintenance to Magic Touch Construction in an amount not to exceed $100,000.
Make a motion to accept. I need a second.
Second.
So same thing, this was a bid that was solicited. Magic Construction Electrical responded with the lowest responsible bidder, and will recommended their award. Funds are available for these activities in the capital funds. Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 14 is resolution awarding, approving, and ratifying contract for plumbing repair maintenance to Magic Touch Construction in an amount not to exceed $200,000.
Make a motion to accept. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Bill.
Same thing, this was another bid that was publicly advertised and awarded. As you may know, plumbing has been very challenging for the buildings, and particularly with our exterior, underground, and wall components, which now are coming to age, having been built in the late 1950s. So we need about 10 times more than this, but this is all we can afford to get. So it's a fee-for-service contract. So essentially, we are dealing with emergency repairs and capital main repairs. This is not enough money to do a lot of the preventative stuff that we need to do. My hope is that at some point, maybe in some future administration, we'll be able to get another larger stimulus component for capital needs, and we'll be able to go in and do some of the wall and underground upgrades. But right now, this basically takes us through the year and fixes what breaks at this point. We're not necessarily doing preventative maintenance with this.
John,
Yes.
how many bids do you get on the average for each one of them?
We usually send out anywhere from 4 to 5, and we'll get 1 or 2 back, sometimes 3, depending on the contract. A lot of these bids require bonds if they come back, so a lot of people will look at them, they'll go through them, and they'll decide not to take on the work. A lot of them want guaranteed contracts. We don't do guaranteed contracts. All of our contracts are fee for service, so it's not the same as if we were to say to someone, hey, we're going to pay you $200,000 no matter what. So in all of these contracts, they're fee for service because number one, we can't pay for things that you don't do. And number two, because of the volume of what we need, a lot of them are done, midnight, pipe breaks, we need someone there right now. Electric's out, it's the middle of winter, we need someone there right now. So they're structured that way. So really the respondents are usually local, larger, experienced people with multifamily dwellings that kind of know what they're getting into. All right. Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 15 is resolution awarding and approving contract for camera security and maintenance to Comtech in the amount not to exceed $80,000.
Make a motion to accept?
second,
So as you know, we've been kind of coupling together with whatever we have left in our capital and operations money, the upgrades to our security systems and cameras. I'm very pleased to have this amount again this year to be able to do some stuff before the summer happens. And we're going to continue to do the installations, work with the local law enforcement, both on the New Brunswick and Franklin side, to make sure that we're putting cameras in high traffic areas and areas that are issues, as well as making upgrades to the system whenever we can with whatever money. This is sort of what happens at the end of our capital and our operations money. So this is what was put aside for those activities, and we're very happy with the response we got. And Comtech was the lowest responsible bidder.
This for new cameras or?
No, it's for maintenance, repair, and upgrade. So it's the cameras that we have, many of which are reaching their shelf life. So this money goes towards replacing those, going up on the buildings, taking down the old ones, putting new ones in. If there's a system upgrade that has to be done. So it's maintenance and equipment.
What's their shelf life?
5 to 7 years are shelf lives of the cameras. Honeywell systems are usually like 3 to 5 years, depending on, because they have operating systems and NVRs, which are the recording devices. Then you have cameras that are separate. So the cameras record to the NVRs, which are like old school, like I guess the best you can think of is like your old DVR. But imagine your DVR on steroids that has like 10 cameras hooked up to it. And then that transmits back to our command center. So they kind of go in a 3 to 7 year life period. But we also have areas that become in need of viewing more than other areas. So this also allows us to mobilize cameras and kind of put them where we need to put them, in some of the high traffic areas. People know where our cameras are within a week of them going up. So a lot of the activities move. Our goal really is to have the majority of our site covered by cameras, so that we're not really trying to stop all the crime. We just wanted to move off our property. So that's really our goal in doing this type of activity. Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 16 is a resolution awarding and approving contract for pest control services to pesticide in the amount of $25,000.
Move.
I'll second.
Who moved? I'm sorry?
Walden.
Walde?
Commissioner Walden.
And second. So Pesticide is a new company. They were the lowest responsible bidder. We haven't worked with them in the past. We've had some conversations with them. They seem to be eager and ready to get involved. They have experience working in multifamily and housing authorities, and we'll see what happens. They do come very well recommended, and as I said, they're the lowest responsible bidder. Commissioner Dunlap?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
yes,
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 17 is a resolution approving and adopting the 5-year PHA plan for the New Brunswick Housing Authority.
Make a
So
motion.
Oh.
I'll second.
Who moved?
Dale.
Dale, okay. And Georgianni seconds. As you know, every 5 years, we do updates to our plan. This actually was out and advertised for 45 days. We did not make many changes because we, quite frankly, have not received a lot of the funding to do a lot of the things that we hope to do. So we updated the plan, as you know, we went through some drafts and put it out for the review component. And my hope is that the next 5 years we'll get hopefully some more subsidies that we can do some of the activities that we were hoping to do. One of the components in there we did successfully get, as you know, we were awarded a 9% tax credit deal to redo the Hoffman Pavilion building, which we're very excited about working with Penrose Properties and getting that affordable development moving. We've had some preliminary conversations with them, but that is and has been part of the annual and 5-year plan. So that will be moving forward. I'm not really sure if we're going to get the closing by the end of this year, and Yurgo would probably know more about the tax credit world from his previous life, but because no one really knows what the state's going to do. So, but our hope is that we're shovel ready from a standpoint of having a cleared site and completely ready to move forward. So my hope is that the banks will, and the other entities will be in financial positions to lend money after they lick their wounds and get back on the regular operations of business. My hope is by this late summer, but we just don't know what that's going to look like, quite frankly.
By the way, congratulations, because
Thank you.
it took so long.
5 years.
5 years, I remember.
Always a bridesmaid, yes. Five long years, I might add. But thank you very much. We appreciate it. And again, it was an accomplishment of everyone, and now we have to build it. So roll your sleeves up. We're going to have some shovel groundbreakings and be working on a whole bunch of upgrades and those things. So, Commissioner Dunlap.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes.
And Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 18 is a resolution awarding, approving, and ratifying contract for general legal services to Manfredi and Pellecchio in an amount not to exceed $60,000.
Make a motion to accept?
Oh, second, anyone? Second, did somebody second?
Second.
Who was that?
Right.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. This again was bid annually. We do our legal and, yeah, I know, Rock, no glasses though. This was bid and we look forward to working with Alberto, even though he's on the phone. I would still say if he wasn't on the phone. Anyway, Commissioner Dunlap,
Yes.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chair.
Yes.
That's all the resolutions. Chair, I would just say I'd like to thank all the board members for their support. Recognize Commissioner Medina Hernandez, Commissioner Walde, and everyone else who helped us with getting the food out to our seniors and disabled residents. I did speak briefly with Buster Suarez and First Baptist. They may be looking to do some more, depending on how this thing extends. But in your board packages, you saw that we were able to get with Yesenia's help. Actually, we were able to get Robert Johnson, Rutgers, and ourselves out on a weekday to do some seniors and disabled residents on our side, and then First Baptist Church and Lincoln Gardens for both the New Brunswick and Franklin side for seniors and disabled residents. And I would just say that when things get back to normal, I hope that this same energy will continue, because we have some great, very seasoned senior residents here who have some great stories and are always real appreciative of anyone doing anything for them. And my staff and I enjoyed as much delivering the food as much as it was of a task of getting it there. But also know that we did a lot of good. And there are a lot of people that need help out there right now. So hopefully, if you're able, I hope you will try to take opportunities to roll your sleeves up and get out there and do whatever little you can to make yourself essential if you're not. And if you can do it safely, then great. But other than that, I just want to thank my staff for continuing to work through this process. As you know, we have been here. We continue to work many times, 7 days a week, and we're going to continue to be here as long as we can to get the work done, which we have a lot of. So, that being said,
How are your staff people though? John?
my staff's holding up. It's a little challenging now from the maintenance standpoint because we have residents that have, have confirmed issues. We had some staff, obviously, that were involved with some things, so it's challenging. So we're doing everything we can, social distancing, the masks, the gloves, the PPE, everything else that we need to do, keeping, 10, we do 10 feet. That's why, I don't know if you see the room, but we're 10 feet. So that helps a lot. All of our meetings are on a Zoom or WebEx platform. We went to flex schedules, so we have less people in the office. Pretty much no one's really driving in vehicles with anyone else. Maintenance do their operations in protective gear. Staff we've closed the front office, so we're doing everything by appointments or directly on an as-needed basis. And we have to work. We can't. Our jobs don't allow us to port. And, it just doesn't work. So they're doing a great job, but it's challenging. It's nobody signed up for this. So we're kind of doing it. So and then once we get it done, hopefully we'll get back to some semblance of normal. And whatever the new normal is going to be, it's going to be, and we're going to have to work through that process. But my hope is that we'll figure something out sooner than later, because I know that there's we have probably dozens, if not hundreds, of unemployed clients, and we never really had that before. We've always had people who were working that needed help, and now we have many people who are just simply are not working. So I don't know how that's going to work, or how long it can work. But our staff are doing a great job. We obviously try to make the adjustments immediately whenever somebody comes in and tells us that they've lost their job. So that requires us to do something. We have to go in and make adjustments and do interns. We have to get the rent changed because we pay more of their rent in those cases. So it's a work we have to do. And we're going to continue doing it as long as we can. But thank you for asking, and I hope everyone. Sorry?
Is providing any subsidies? Because a lot of people will be losing their jobs.
So we've been given, I included in your board packages, what HUD did was they did blanket waivers that you have to basically request. So we're going to go through those waivers and adopt the ones that apply to us and that we need. HUD has issued notice that they will be providing subsidies, but they basically told us to utilize our money now. So we're using the money that we have to support the program. Just so you understand, when somebody in a Section 8 unit's rent is $1,000 a month, the landlord gets $1,000 a month. Now, that landlord maybe used to get $700 from the tenant and $300 from us. He might be getting $950 from us and $50 from the tenant now. So our amount goes up substantially because they can't afford to pay. And that's how that program is set up. So the less you make, the less you pay, and the more we pay. We haven't received any additional subsidy from HUD. Essentially, HUD goes on a rolling basis, but they've told us that they will. They've issued some notices about monies that they're going to make available. No one's really gone through this before. So, we kind of look at our account and say, okay, we have enough money to pay our landlords, you know what I mean? And that's really our goal, is to keep our staff going and keep the landlords paid and, keep the bills paid. So that, as long as we're able to do that, we can go work with HUD later on settling on what money we use and those things. So, but yeah, they have said that we are part of the funding components that will be in some type of round of money. We just, to be honest with you, we just haven't had time to go look at a lot of those things, and our accounts haven't gone up. So typically HUD does things on a formula basis. So they'll apply it, and it'll arrive in our account in May, June, or July. If it goes on like it did with previous disasters, when we had Hurricane Sandy, or Superstorm Sandy, I'm sorry, when we had, the other storms that we've had before. And other than that, that's all I had.
John, the disclosure, when is that due? Was it May or was it?
So, No, so those of you who have not gotten your local ethics disclosure forms yet,
To make sure everybody did it.
yeah, make sure that you check your emails and or mail. If you haven't received it, you need to contact the city clerk, because each of you have an independent reporting code. You know, and it's designated by the state, so you have to do the form, you gotta submit it all electronic. And you should have already gotten yours, I think they went out on the 12th or 13th.
Yeah, because
I did
Yes.
mine already.
Yeah, so if you have any trouble with it, let me know or let the city clerk know and I'll hook you up with her. And, you know, it preloads last year's,
right.
so just go in, make sure you dot your i's and cross your t's and everything's correct before you hit that send button.
Right.
And, if you didn't get the letter or you didn't get it, you know, shoot me an email and I'll hook you up with the clerk. That's all I have.
Comments from the public?
Good evening once again, members of the board. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick today. I want to start with a huge thank you to all the workers who are showing up, including Mr. Clark, in this difficult situation here. I know there's usually an executive director's report on the agenda. I don't see it here, but I know that what was just said was more or less sufficient. I did want to ask though about the rents. You mentioned that you just kind of are on an ad hoc basis trying to keep the rents paid. Are you confident that you'll be able to pay the May rents at this point?
Yeah, so, Mr. Chair, we don't get HUD subsidy for the next month until the 27th or 28th of the month. So, and it's done on a rolling basis. So typically, you only get the amount that you previously paid up to your budgeted amount. The problem is no one budgeted for half of the people to be unemployed in your program. So, as long as HUD has the money, I'm confident we will get the money. So, but I don't think anyone's ever, we're making payments that we have been, and we're making payments that we've never made before, because, we have a 900 plus unit program that more than half of the people there are either at minimums or have been adjusted to certain amounts. Now, unemployment is income.
Yeah.
So what happens now is you get people that say, okay, I'm getting my unemployment. For those of you who don't understand what's happening with the unemployment, it's not regular unemployment people are getting now. It's like super unemployment,
Yeah.
right? So those
I get
amounts, we don't know what they are for the people until they tell us or until we go in and look on our income verification.
Right.
So, and I always use the analogy, people are really good about telling us when they lose jobs and not when they get jobs or extra money. So we'll get caught up. We have an income verification component, so we're able to go in and kind of see what your employer or the state gave you in unemployment, but there's a lag. So eventually we'll get caught up, and that's usually a 90 to 120 day cycle. But as far as paying at the end of the month, HUD has money and it was budgeted through October. So what I'm assuming they're going to do is front load budgets. So they're going to use the money that they have been budgeted for until Congress appropriates and gives them more money for the pandemic. But they haven't received any more. So.
Thank you. I do have a few more questions, and I will say I have a lot less questions because some of the board members asked the questions I wanted to ask. So you had really good questions and really thorough explanations from the ED today. Firstly, for Commissioner Medina Hernandez, if you could tell us why you abstained on the item 5.
This is all about comments. This is not a question time. If you want to make a comment, fine.
Just a fair question. If she wants to tell us, she can.
She doesn't have to answer it. And bottom line, I say comments, please keep the comments. Keep rolling, your time is rolling, because we got to get out of here at a certain time. Make sure we're all safe and
I
abide by the
don't
laws.
understand.
I do understand.
What time do we have to be out of here by?
8 o'clock, we have a
8 o'clock curfew.
What, don't
There's
you
a
want to
curfew.
use? Yes.
I am not familiar with that
In the
policy.
state of New
Really?
Jersey?
No, I
In the
don't.
state of New Jersey, the governor's.
Yeah, no,
Well, you better keep it going
I
quick.
think you might be
You want to ask me
misunderstanding.
why I abstained, but you got to make it a comment so it's not gonna be answered anyhow, and I'm
Well, you
not
did a
gonna
good
answer
job
that one.
predicting my next question.
So,
I
let's
think you
go.
may be,
Come on, let's go
you may
with
be a little
comments.
confused about the executive
Let's
orders that have
go.
been signed by the governor. You may want to look into that.
Uh,
But I presume you won't answer why you abstained on number 8 then?
You got about another 2 minutes,
Out
not even.
of just purely spite and not wanting to share with the public why you voted the way you voted?
The commissioner has a right to abstain without explanation.
Thank you very much.
I understand it's his right. He also has a right to explain himself, and it probably would look a lot better if he did. And again, I kind of feel like Commissioner Medina Hernandez didn't even have a chance to respond because you shut down the questioning. So I guess maybe I'll follow up with
She
her.
doesn't have to answer, and I said it's a comment time.
Right, you're restricting my ability to ask questions, which has not been the practice in the past, and not really, it
It
just
has
creates
been.
these situations where we're
It has
needlessly
been
fighting over.
Public comments, not questions.
Right, and I
Go
can
ahead.
choose to use my comment time to ask questions, and you
got
can either
15
answer
seconds.
them and
15
like a good
seconds.
public official,
Keep burning your
or you
time.
can not answer them
Keep burning
like
your time.
like the unfortunately,
Keep burning
this is not the way public officials should behave.
Right.
When the public comes with questions, you should, to the best of your ability, answer
I
them.
think we've done that.
No, I don't think you have. I think I asked two questions
Can I have
of
a
you.
motion to adjourn,
And-
please?
Sir, I still have more questions.
5 minutes, we got time, and that's it, and you know this, you gotta abide by these rules too. So, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Sir, I have a few more questions. How many lawyers are on the phone right now? What is the rate that they're being paid?
Is that your motion, Ron?
That was mine.
Is there a reason that you have to have 2 lawyers? Are they both gonna get paid? What's the rate? You just approved the
Second.
contract. You're not gonna tell me the rate that you're paying the lawyers? This is needless in a time
Okay,
of crisis.
Commissioner Dunlap.
You should be more transparent. The public
Commissioner
needs
Walde?
information.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez. Is she on?
Yeah, I think so, she was just doing something.
Hold on, Ken.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yes,
And Chair.
Yes,
yes.
I got you. Okay.
thank you all.
All right, Mr. Giorgiani, you gotta do better than that.
All right,
The
thank you
public
all.
deserves better.
Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe, everyone.
Same to you. Farewell.
Careful.
Good to be with you.